Welcome everyone to our webinar series, Soapbox Science Lagos November theme. It's a pleasure to be launching this in June 2020, and today we're going to have one of our speakers from 2019 sharing with us about her experience. But first of all, I'll just give you some highlights of 2019 and introduce you to the organizing team for November 2020.
So this is the team so far from 2019 to 2020. I am already an Ijirego and I lead the Soapbox Science November team. So we've got Tochi, Elsie, Tommy, Flora, Simiat has joined the team. You know she's our speaker for today. And we've got Oniko. And here's just a highlight from all the volunteers we had last year. The event wouldn't be possible without all the numerous volunteers, their help. Soapbox Science takes a lot from people. So I just want to appreciate them. And then just to give you some highlights as well, from last year, we had over 1,000 visitors. 98% of those visitors that we were able to interview said they found the event welcoming, which is amazing, thanks to all our volunteers and the team. And 84% reported the event as effective or very effective at promoting women in science. So as a speaker for 2020, I think you found that very exciting, isn't it? One of the things, the main thing that Soapbox wants to do is to celebrate you as Nigerian women in science, pushing forward science, technology, engineering, maths, and medicine, and also, showcasing the science that you do. Sometimes people are not aware of the science that goes on in our country. So I'm very excited about bringing this to Nigeria, and it's so amazing. It's Lagos State in particular. Okay, so without much ado, I'd just like to introduce Dr. Simiat Elias. Dr. Simiat Elias is an associate professor of physiology with Lagos State University College of Medicine, Nigeria. Her research interests revolve around determinants and sequelae of hypertension. She has studied the role of salt sensitivity among Nigerians, the influence of the autonomic nervous system, and the predictability of hypertension among some susceptible Nigerians. Her work on the genetic basis of hypertension was the core of her presentation at November 2019 Soapbox Science Lagos. Her talk was really popular. She has mentored and continues to mentor many young scientists, especially females. Simiat is a member of many professional associations, including Nigerian Medical Association, the American Physiological Society, and more at home and abroad. Simiat is currently an elected member representing Africa on the board of General Assembly of the International Union of Physiological Societies. Dr. Elias is happily married and is blessed with a wonderful daughter and grandchildren. She loves reading and giving motivational talks. She also engages in charity work with a passion for women issues and orphans, for which she finds a good platform in the Criterion, an association of Muslim women in business, and the professions which she helped form over 30 years ago. So, I'm very happy that Simiat has agreed to do this. Thank you so much, Simiat, for wanting to share this with us. We're very excited to hear what you have to say. And now I am going to keep quiet and I'm going to hand over to Simiat, who's going to share her experience with us.
So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this first in a series of talks that has been planned by the Lagos Soapbox Science team. My name is Simiat Elias. As you just heard, I took part in the November 2019 Soapbox outreach in Lagos, and I am now a member of a team, but we'll get to that. Now, what's Soapbox Science? For those of you who may not have learned about it or just hearing about it for the first time, Soapbox Science launched in London in 2011 and was led by Syrian Somna and Nathalie. It was funded by L'Oreal UNESCO team for women in science. It was also co-funded by Zoological Society of London and the Science and Technology Facilities Council. Soapbox Science is a novel artist platform. I need to get rid of this. The participants, it is blocking my slide. Already, can you help me with that?
Here is a symbol. Just click that.
I did, but this is still not doing me. Okay, I moved it aside.
Okay.
So it's a novel public outreach platform for promoting women scientists and the science that we do. Soapbox Science provides the opportunity for women like you and me who are in STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine, mathematics, to take our arts and of course science to the streets. It serves to inform and encourage younger females to pursue a career in STEM without any pressure. All we do is encourage them. We're not going to pressure them, but we want them to enjoy doing what we do, and knowing that there's a career possibility in STEM. How did I learn about super science? I have a professor, he's my mentor, friend, Emeritus Professor Misha Gashufola, the Emeritus Professor of Physiology. Now, his daughter, Iko Adeshaki, as already just introduced, was part of a Soapbox Science Lagos team for 2019, and she was recruiting for the November outreach, and that's how I got to know. So I went online and read all I could find on Soapbox Science and saw that they were doing great things, so I was sold on the idea. I decided to apply, and luckily I was picked to be a speaker. Now then, the dilemma started. What was I going to talk about? I needed a topic that I could convey on the streets, that I could provide information in an engaging or entertaining manner. I needed a topic that would provide encouragement to young girls to want to pick up a career in STEM. And of course, to also encourage our parents to support their daughters in this choice. Because as we know in our neck of the world, some parents think that any career in STEM is actually for men. I'm sure some of you have had a similar experience as I have had of people coming into your office and saying, expecting you to be a man, or somebody actually standing in front of you and addressing you as sir. So this, is still ongoing. Now, I needed a topic to show parents that they can actually support their daughters if they wanted to go into career in STEM. So, of my work, I picked the genes and salts that makes to work in hypertension. But how do I convey this? Its import to the layman. If we're going to the streets, we're hoping to talk to young girls. We're hoping to talk to people who had very little idea about science. But as a doctor, one of the things that we learn and teach is always to convey information in a way that anyone can understand. But that in this case, I found was easier said than done. I wasn't talking to patients, I was going to talk to young people. So Soapbox Science Lagos team came to the rescue. They had planned a series of workshops for us speakers, one of which was the speaker training session, during which we were encouraged to have a trial run, and comments and suggestions were offered by the team, some of whom had been speakers in previous events. I decided to take advantage of that trial. I presented what I had planned so far as of that time, and of course the team helped to polish it up. So I realized from that experience that I could actually break down my science in simple terms. I continued to practice while waiting for the November day. Now, one thing you have to know if you want to be a speaker, and those people who have been chosen as speaker for Soapbox Science 2020, is that it's a direct contact from speaker to the audience. You used to teaching with PowerPoint if you are a teacher. You had all sorts of gadgets to help you in your lecture set. You probably use the public address system as I did, because I didn't believe my voice could carry so far. So at soapbox, it's just you on the soapbox. You actually literally placed on the soapbox. But you do get a volunteer to assist you, of course. So I began to think, looking at my topic, what props would I need? I was going to talk about genes, so I made colorful pictures of the genes you can see in this diagram. The 3D structure of the DNA to show something. And this is a helical structure, as you can see. So I had that printed out. What else could I do? I need to talk about the heart, because hypertension, of course, will eventually affect the heart. So I made a picture of the heart. You can see that. And then I had to make blood vessels, something to show um, that, well, I was talking about blood vessels because of hypertension will eventually affect blood vessels. So I had pipes of different sizes, plastic pipes of different circumferences to show the heart, the blood vessel, the big one. I mean, this I used to demonstrate the aorta, use this to demonstrate the smaller feeder arteries. I also used it as a point to demonstrate how the diameter of the blood vessel would reduce when there's atherosclerosis. Okay, when there's some disease causing the diameter to shrink. So to make props, you have to look at your title, at the topic of your presentation. You have to look around you because you're not going to bring all your big gadgets. You have to most of the things we use as props have to be made by us, made in your homes or in your labs, and to convey what you want for to the public. So I also use this. You can see this um, this balloon, this long one, also to convey what would happen to blood vessels, and this balloons as well as blood vessels, and we actually put in scraps of paper. You know, when you perforate paper sheets, and so those little bits you put inside the balloon, so that at a point during my presentation, to show what would happen during strokes, I actually bust one of those balloons, and those papers, flew out. So that, I mean, demonstrated that okay, if there was anything that would cause blood vessel to burst, blood will spill off into the surrounding area. Now you can see I said props made and shared. What I had planned was a picture of a DNA. Okay, but one of my colleagues, one of of the co-presenters, Dr. Voketoye, had this beautiful DNA prop, which of course she lets me borrow. So that's another thing with social science and with us as scientists. We don't hide information. We don't hide whatever we know or we think will make the next person better because it's a reflection on ourselves eventually. If you all succeed, one person succeeds, you all succeeded. So she let me use her DNA structure, and that was a real hit with the younger members of of those who visited my box. Now, I also planned a simple experiment on the effect of stress on blood pressure as part of how we develop hypertension because the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, for those of us who know, is one of the systems that would affect us or make an individual become hypertensive when it's overactive. So I planned a simple experiment. I brought ice and then made it into ice slurry, maintained at about 4 degrees state. And one of the volunteers put in his hand. He had measured his blood pressure. Of course, I brought a blood pressure automated device to measure blood pressure and heart rate. And so we encouraged, he volunteered and put in his hand for 1 to 2 minutes. We measured his blood pressure and heart rate before and after, and that was a simple experiment to show individuals that when you are stressed, your blood pressure is likely to go up and your heart rate as well. Now, I also measured out the normal amount of salt that we are expected or that we are allowed to take in food daily. And when I say food, as I explained during my conversation and my presentation, it's not just the food that you cook, it's the cereal, it's the biscuits, it's the bread, and all those. So all the salt in that should measure up to that amount. So I showed it a small sample, exact measurement, and then I measured out what many people, most people would eat every day and consume from all these other sources, and then put them side by side, and it was easy for people to see the comparison, and they're able to, excuse me please, and they're able to understand what we meant by high dietary salt intake. Now, in interaction with the public, I kept it short, excuse me, short and engaging. I made sure I came down, I spoke the language that everyone there could understand. My talk was initially planned for 15 minutes maximum and 5 minutes for questions and answers so that I would have three rounds of talk. That was what we had planned, what the team had asked us to do, because people would keep coming to your stand and going away. So we needed to say things over and over again. So I planned 3 rounds of, of my talk for 15 minutes and 5 minutes for questions. But at the end of the day, I had 2 rounds of talk because there was so much questions from the audience. It was so engaging, so enriching. There was so much questions, and I needed to stop and answer. Indeed, the youngest person who visited to my stand who asked the question, unfortunately, his face is not showing, was about 5 years old, and he wanted to know where the heart was. I mean, that was so, uh, it was so surreal for me. I mean, you could see me bending down. I needed to get him to really know that I was interested in his question and I was answering him, and he was very happy with that. So everybody was interested. I mean, there was a lot of questions, and I only got 2 rounds of talk going. So what you gain, I mean, what did I gain from my experience at the 2019 um, Soapbox outreach? I met some wonderful people, the organizers. You see some of them in the picture. Okay, that's the team lead that's already, she just finished talking to us. That's Flora. Okay, that's Flora. And these are some of the volunteers who supported us and held our props up and all that. I met some beautiful, wonderful co-speakers as Professor from Anambra State. There's the lady doctor from LASU, just as I am, but some others were also there, of course. And of course, I met some visitors. I mean, I visited some of the stands of the others, I mean, in between, before my talk. My talk was in the last round. Okay, so I had the opportunity of going around and listening to what some of these amazing ladies were doing in their labs, and I mean, you'd be amazed at what you would learn from colleagues, even if they were not really speaking your language. Now, I met some guests, I mean, very fantastic people who came to our stands, and I mean, were encouraged to go to the other stands as well, from people from different walks of life. So for me, it was a beautiful experience. My current community and university recognized my participation in Soapbox outreach, and of course, as you heard, I've become a member of a team to plan this year's outreach. So, of course, I also had my cheerleaders were present, some known, some hitherto unknown, and we took a picture at the end of this. So it was a wonderful experience for me. It took me out of my comfort zone, because I love, took me out of my comfort zone, which was speaking to medical students and medical doctors. Or even when I spoke to the public, I was always talking about one disease or the other. But this was an experience in actually talking to people, younger people, in order to encourage them, and needed to really talk about my science. Wasn't talking about the disease or anything, was what I was doing in my life. So it was a beautiful experience for me. Soapbox Science allows you to become part of a respected community of female scientists. It affords you the opportunity to share your love and enthusiasm with future generation of scientists, and I assure you the effect of your participation goes further than you can ever imagine. So you're welcome aboard. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I hope you enjoy your relationship with Soapbox. Thank you. That's the Soapbox time. Thank you very much. Oh, the back to you.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you. I'm sure if we were in a conference room, people would be clapping. So I'll just clap for everybody. So thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
sharing your experience. So we'll now open it up. If anyone has questions, what you can do is you can type it in the chat box, or I think there's a way to raise your hand, or just say, I have a question, and then I'll call people out. I'll unmute you, and then you can ask Simiat a question. Someone is typing virtual clap. in the chat box. So let me clap for you. So thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. I think why people are preparing their questions. So please feel free to ask anything. There is no silly question or anything. I would really like this to be quite interactive for the 30 or so more minutes that we have. So we're not going to keep you for long. These webinars are going to be short, blast one, not more than 1 hour meetings. So just for us to begin to interact. And if you have any ideas for talks, like you want to talk about something and share with others, please always feel free to just send us an email. So 1 second while I just pull up the chat so I can see if people are typing. So Simiat, you mentioned that you've noticed there's that issue about what's it called? Like maybe people expecting that even leading scientists are mostly men. How would you say, like your experience with Soapbox 2019, how has it sort of affected or influenced your work after that time? Has it had any impact?
Yes, I would say it has, because some of those people who visited the stand, one or two of the parents had discussed with me at that meeting on that day. They would like their daughters to be just like me. Some of them had actually told me there was a woman that brought her daughter who had just gained admission to study medicine. And she said she deliberately brought her so that she would see that it's actually possible for somebody to be in medicine and to also have a family. Okay? And they didn't just stop at my stand, they went all around the stand. I think she was there for like 3 hours. And she was asking, even the mother that had nothing to do with science was asking about my clothes and all this. So it's been a wonderful experience. And some of the people who saw the posters online had come to my office, and it wasn't good morning, sir. It was good morning, madam. So I think people are beginning to understand the fact that women can actually be scientists, and not just good for teaching or just to be classroom primary school teachers and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, Aisha, the link will be sent out after the meeting. We hope for the recording, and also hopefully it will be available on YouTube. We'll let you know. So someone else has asked, what was the most challenging thing you experienced in preparing for the Soapbox talk?
Yes, that's a very good question. The most challenging was my initial thought. How was I going to break down my science? And I recall calling Orodale up and asking her, say, this is my area of work. This is what I've asked. I wanted to present. But how on earth was I going to tell a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old about DNA, about the genes, about how it affects the heart? But, after the practicing that I did, practice presentation that I did during one of the training sessions, I then went back and I started talking to some of my students, okay? Yes. And I began to talk to them in a way different from how I would want to teach them. I started talking to them as if they were in primary school. And I would ask them, do you understand what I've said? And it was only after they had said they understood that I then put it in my presentation. So it was very challenging for me to break it really down to that level for people to understand. That was the most challenging. Making the props would have been a challenge. It was a challenge too, but not as challenging as how was I actually going to make bring out words and convey what I was doing. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you so much. So that question was from Flora. So the next question, Bosse Adesalu says, how much does it cost you to prepare those improvised tools?
Well,
if there was any funding and things like that, we can get into more of that later, but I'll let you answer.
Okay. For me, it didn't really cost much. That's the interesting thing. If we would just look around us, we would find that there are props everywhere. Okay? The pipes that I used was from my balcony at home. It was from the pipe that we used to to wash our cars, to spray and wash the cars. And we had two different sizes. So I just thought, oh, this looks like blood vacuum. And I cut some diameter and some length out of the two sides. So that didn't cost me anything. The balloons didn't cost much. And then I had confetti. I bought confetti, but the confetti unfortunately that I bought was too large for what I wanted. So I decided to perforate papers and use those small things that come out of the perforated holes to put inside the balloon. My beautiful IT students, as you can see on my slides, were the ones that blew up the balloons for me. So it didn't cost me much more than transporting um, my students and those that did the balloons for me, who wanted also to be at the program, and myself. Of course, the 3D painting, which was also needed because I printers and data. So it wasn't much. You'll be amazed at what you can find in your environment to portray what you're actually doing. Of course, salt is from home, and what else did I use? So the DNA structure, yes, that I took off from Tony. That would cost some maybe £25 or something. But apart from that, nothing else was bought. I used my automated BP measuring device. So you just look around, you find that you don't need to spend too much in presenting your work to the people on the streets. Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Simiat. So, boss is saying, can you please quantify it for me, Ma? I need the total estimate. So, I'll mention something later when we have the speaker training. We talk about things. Well, I think what Simiat, I haven't actually heard that she bought anything apart from balloons.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes,
how?
right.
If you spent any sort of money on the props, if you could give a range in naira, what would you say how much you spent in naira?
Well, if I had bought the DNA structure, the
No,
plastic
let's not
structure,
put that because you borrowed that one.
I borrowed that one. Okay, every other thing, I don't think I spent 2,500 naira, something like that.
Okay, so
Because every other thing, yeah.
so you looked around. The pipes were from like your car park, your balcony.
Yeah.
Salt was from your kitchen. The balloons, I don't know how much balloons are. I can get balloons for £1, which is like like
500 naira.
So it depends. We can talk about that more in detail, but when we look at what your talk is actually. Let me just so I can at least give everyone a chance. There was another question. Does Soapbox provide for the cost? I need to prepare my mind. Okay, so there's a lot of information here. One of the things we encourage people, so we don't actually provide cash to speakers to say use this to buy, but what we try and encourage each person, even at least I know two of the speakers were funded by their university, was to actually reach out to your institution, your place of work, to see if they could contribute some sort of money, 2,000, like in Simiat's case, it was 2,500 or something like that, towards your props. Now, and not forgetting, she was talking about the things she put in the balloon. That was just paper from the house and a perforator to just punch it and to put it inside the balloon. So there are things that you might already have around you and you don't need to spend money. So it's not every speaker will not need to spend money on props. So please don't let that be a limitation. We're here as members of the team and the previous Soapbox speaker, and I'm also a STEM ambassador visiting primary schools. I don't say I spend money on all my props. So there's a lot of experience in the team to help you with that. And Tochi as well has also been a speaker. So Flora does science communication talks in schools as well. So there's a lot of support available that even if you can't find funding for your talk, we can help you design, think about, and simple ways that you can communicate what it is that you need to communicate to the public. So please don't allow that to be a limitation as to your participation. Thank you so much for that question. It says here, do we prepare posters where we break down our science before presentation? That's from Haishat Olufadi Ahmed. Do you prepare posters where we can break down our science before presentation? So just before Simiat can mention whether she used posters or not. That we will cover a lot of that in the speaker training session a few weeks before. But it's good to also begin to ask them now if you want to begin to think about it. Perhaps you can send us an email. This is I already know the title of some of the talks, but if you can just send an email to say this is my title, these are the thoughts I'm thinking of doing, and we can talk specifically about your presentation. So Soapbox Science is very more. There are no microphones, and we're thinking of going online. So that's going to be completely different again. So it might mean that some people might have a few slides, but it's very, very interactive. We try and show people, science. There's something about imagery. Science, just as it is, like Simiat was saying, she used pipes to show blood vessels. Now, if an adult that is not a science, technology, engineering, or medicine professional sees that, it really connects with them. They can see that, oh, this is an example of what my blood vessel might look like. It might not be a realistic dimension of it, but they get a picture in their mind. And during the speaker training, or even maybe one of the talks, Tochi will come and share how because she did a very lovely presentation about, she was an experiment she was even able to do. So there are different ways you can communicate your science. I would very much advise the use of props, so things that people can see, they can potentially touch. I know it might be virtual, but if I'm holding up a glass of water, for example, and I'm trying to showcase how I might filter dirty water to make it clean because of this new filtration device that I have developed, I could decide to make this water colored, and pouring it through my filtration device, somebody will easily see how the water is becoming clean. That sticks better, I find, with people who are not involved with science at all. It spikes their interest. Did you want to say anything about posters?
Yes. About posters, you don't really need to make a poster. I didn't enjoy it. We had a few of the co-presenters who put some pictures on the posters, but that's you need to be a bit more graphic. You need to bring things that people can see and touch. They don't have time to read. Okay, you want them to be engaged with you, to be interested in your talk for the duration of your talk, 20 minutes. And if you want them to have them read something, they just walk away to where somebody else is showing them props. So no posters are required, but in preparing, you could do your PowerPoint slides. So it helps you prepare. You can time yourself. This is what I'm going to say. This before this before. So you break up your talk into chunks of 5 minutes, and then so that people maybe they have questions or comments in between. You don't lose the train of thought. You don't say, wait until I finish before I answer you. Okay, so although it's been advised you have 1 hour, but that you won't be talking for 1 hour because people are going to get bored. So you divided your talks into 3, that's 20 minutes, 20 minutes. But inside that 20 minutes, you still have little chunks, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you pause a bit. And make sure at all the time, you're always looking at the audience, so that checking their mood. Are they still interested in what you're saying? If they are not interested, why are they not interested? Okay, so that kind of thing. And then that's the only thing. That's the only reason for you to have a PowerPoint slide, because you're not going to bring it on anyway. I'm not going to print it out and start reading from it. You're not there to read. You're there to present. Okay, it's a presentation in a soapbox. You know what people do on soapbox? They perform. So you're there to perform. So you have your art, your science down to an art, and then you perform it. So that's idea. You don't need to do posters at all. But you could bring flyers. If you think flyers will help you, you could distribute flyers after your talk. Okay, so not before, not during. People don't have their heads down in the flyers and they lose interest in what you're saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Bosse. And we will go into more detail in the speaker training. So please don't be worried. This is just to give you a taster of one person's experience. So Aisha said interesting. So we will be using props to illustrate methodology and results. Exactly. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Bosse said I am inspired. Thank you so much, Bosse, for your comments. So if you could, we have about 5 minutes more to go. So if you could say three things, whatever those three things may be, to sum up your experience, what would those three things be, Simiat?
It will be interesting, engaging, and different.
Different. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So I am just going to make some announcements here. So while we are in this time, I'd really like to encourage you. I know a few people have sent in blogs. You can even do a video about your role in science so far, maybe something from your lab. Blogs, vlogs, please begin to send them in. We feature those on the global Soapbox Science webpage. We send them to headquarters and they check it for whether it's appropriate and things like that. And it's an opportunity for that to be featured there. And if you go on the website soapboxscience.org, you will see so many of our speakers from last year who have shared blogs, and their blogs are still live, and we share it on all the social media platforms, Twitter. So make sure if you don't have a Twitter account, please set one up, because that's one of the major ways for promoting yourself, you promoting yourself as a scientist, and also engaging in this community, Soapbox Science, women scientists from all over the world. So it's not just Lagos. There are so many Soapbox scientists all over the world. I mean, I have begun to network with people from Germany, people that I've never met before, sharing ideas about different things. So, and also our Telegram group, the email invite was sent. Please make sure that you interact on there, send in your questions, anything you're not sure of. If you have any ideas for further webinars, please feel free to also put that in there. Or if you don't want to share that with everybody knowing what you're talking about, send it by email. Take advantage of sharing your bio in Telegram, what you do, what your role is, what you've done in the past, so that we can get to know you better, and so that we begin to create this room for collaborations, for mentoring. Even if you're a volunteer, we start to add volunteers on there. Please tell us what you do, because that way you might meet someone who you might want request to be your mentor, to learn from them. I mean, I learn from everybody in the team. We all keep learning. We all keep improving ourselves. So please do take advantage of that. If there's anything you like, any particular topic you like us to cover in this webinar, please don't forget. I really emphasize that. Let us know. I just want to say, as we come to an end, thank you so much. So she says, Simiat's impression of Soapbox Science, interesting, engaging, and different. Yeah. So I think she liked that explanation. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we hope you've enjoyed this. Please send in your feedback by email, what you liked about it and what you'd like us to improve, or what you'd like us to stop doing. So I hope you have the rest of your day, a blessed weekend. God bless you, and we hope to see you. The next webinar would be July 25th, and we'll share more information by email and also in the Telegram group. So thank you, and bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.